The Sports Scouting Report podcast with Brecheen is sponsored by Madine's Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose Madine's. Gros Savon Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Tire Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Autos in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. Engage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage.
Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Brecheen.
Hi everyone, I'm Brecheen, your host. This is the Sports Scouting Report. We've got some great guests today. Coach Darrell Asberry, the state champions, the Southern Lab Kittens. He's our guest as our coach. And we also have Aiden Saunders, a top defensive back from Live Oak High School around Baton Rouge. I call him an assassin. This guy will knock your helmet off, all your pads, everything. Like Coach said, give me 100 of these guys, and we'll take them on any bus ride to play anybody, anywhere, right, anytime. We also have a flashback of when Billy Cannon played football. Film of him at Istrouma. Back in the day, Billy Cannon, the late Billy Cannon. I think people will love that. We'll be right back.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you. If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see Madine's Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Brecheen, your host. This is the Sports Scouting Report. Our first guest, Aiden Saunders, is a big-time defensive back from Live Oak. Just before we talk to Aiden, I want to just talk about him. I watched him play for 3 years. He's in Class 5A football at Live Oak High School. You know, 5A football is it's not exactly easy any week in Baton Rouge with Zachary and the Dutch Towns and the Denham Springs of the world, Scotlandville. There's some pretty good teams. And later in the show, we got Coach Asberry, which they're also a great program, Southern Lab High School. But I want to start with Aiden Saunders. Thanks for joining us, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Now, you're a senior.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell everybody you're a class of 222. You played your last high school game. I do know that Southeastern is very interested in you.
Yes, sir.
What do you think of the Hammond Southeastern?
I think it's a great program. I think it's somewhere I'd fit nice. And I've had plenty of opportunities, but right now, narrowing down, I think Southeastern is probably the top one.
Where do you get this aggressiveness as a DB? When I watch you on film, before I met you, your dad, and talking to your coach, when you put the film on and you see number 14, by the way, he's jersey 14, you come up, and I mean, when you come, it's like a wave in the water, okay? It's like a shark going after a fish. I mean, what is it about your instincts of just coming up and you give up your whole body to make a tackle?
I think a lot of it has to do with good coaches I've had in the past, teaching me that it's not just like a me game, it's a team game. So put my body on the line for the team to make a play or get somebody hyped up is pretty much all it's about. Yeah. And to be honest, I just like hitting people with pads on.
That's every coach's dream. Even Coach Asberry is smiling in the back. That's something you can't coach with some kids. I've seen some of your hits. I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, we're talking about decleaters. Is there one that sticks out to you?
There was one a long time ago. I think it's the first one I ever had was my freshman year, and I was in a JV game, so it doesn't completely count. But against Walker, I had one that I liked real nice.
Was it a post?
It was a little slant route.
Slant route?
I ran it twice in a row.
You came up and took care of business. And you're a safety. You're more like a roamer, though. You roam between like hybrid corner to safety to free to strong.
Yeah, a little bit of linebacker.
You kind of went everywhere.
Yeah.
What kind of scheme did you like the most outside of the spread as far as a DB?
To be honest, it was a linebacker package where I was at linebacker. I think that was my favorite position, which is what I played growing up, and they moved me to safety in high school and then back to linebacker this year a little bit.
Now you're 6 foot tall. You're now 195. You'll probably play at 190, 185. You're a legit 4.5 guy, which is a safety, pretty good speed. But downhill, you look 4.3. Now that's just a coaching term. I know Coach Asberry agree with me. You look faster on film than your actual time, which I think college coaches are getting outside of that now. They're forgetting about speed on the field compared to the hand time. Don't you agree with that?
I do a little bit. The whole thing with football being like faster was more angles and being able to read a play, just where it needs to go, where you need to be.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we've got highlights of Aiden, and you're going to be able to have a chance to see how good of a hitter he is and how instinctive he is. I mean, every play is just a takedown. We'll be right back with more of the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Brecheen. We'll be right back.
Be sure to take your car and truck for all your tire needs to Treads and Care Tire Company located in Central. The number to call is 331-8144. Family owned and operated since 1971. That's Treads and Care Tire Company. Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the show. Our guest is Aiden Saunders, a DB from Live Oak High School. If you're not familiar with Live Oak and you're watching this show in Lafayette or Shreveport or New Orleans, it's in Livingston Parish. It's very close to Denham Springs High School. Actually, a lot of these kids have the same city address. You can have Denham Springs. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Aiden, you could be, 2 miles apart, basically?
I'm right on the borderline of both of them.
Isn't that kind of neat?
It is.
And wouldn't you say that Denham Springs would be the rival because of that?
100%. It's 100% is, especially with the whole.
Because y'all considered Watson, but you're right by Denham.
It's basically the same thing, same city, zip code, address, everything.
Right, and that's neat. What is it like when you do suit up against Denham?
It's different. It's I mean, of course you have Walker and Central and Zachary and all them, right. But it's different. Like you have friends, you know them, you've gone to school with them, played football with them. It's a closer game. It's a closer rivalry, and I don't know, there's something different about the feeling in that game.
We want to show your highlights, and we want to go ahead and show Aiden's hitting ability. And I want to show this off to colleges because there's so many hidden gems right now because of this portal. A lot of college coaches are not taking a lot of high school kids, and we want to make sure we get that out. We're going to have that for Southern Lab later in the show as well, highlights of Coach Asberry's players. But go ahead and show the film on Aiden Saunders from Live Oak. Hope you enjoyed the film on Aiden. Tell me what you like most about football.
I really like how you just have people that you never met before, or people that just came in, and by the end of the season they can just be brothers and family. I think it's a good way, like, for coaches to make great connections with players. Like, basically be like some father figure to some people.
It's a family.
It's a family, yeah.
You spend more time with your team than you do anybody else, probably.
Basically.
Practice,
workouts, summer workouts in the morning.
A typical day for a high school kid today is what? You go to school during the season, you get out, 3 something, you hit the practice field, you might get home at 7?
7 o'clock sounds about good, especially if we have watched film after or before.
Maybe
a little
8
later,
o'clock?
it might be 8 o'clock, yeah.
And all of a sudden, you eat something,
Eat
some
something,
ice cream,
do a little
ham
homework,
sandwich,
and go to bed.
and then you do it again.
Yeah, every day.
Football's not easy, and it prepares you for life, doesn't it?
It does.
Is there anything as hard as football? I think it's probably the hardest.
As a high school athlete, I'd say it's one of the hardest things I've done. But it's people are okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's like the reward you get for putting in all that effort.
Prepares
that makes
you
it
for
fun.
your life after
Yeah.
college.
It does. It teaches you a lot of life lessons. that
Life
you need to know.
lessons, like you said, your brotherhood with you guys on the team, and your coaches are like your family too, away from your family. Aiden, what do you think of the district and some of these teams you play? Like I said, Zachary, Central, some of the other ones. I mean, there's always a lot of talk. There's a lot of build up.
It's definitely the toughest district in 4-5A right now, I think. I mean, of course, Zachary, defending state champions, again. The toughest team I've ever played in high school.
Why
has
is
to
that
be.
with Zachary? Why? What is it about
First,
them?
they have a great coach. Their players, they go all in every single play. The biggest players, one of the biggest O-lines I've played against, they're really physical. And even the receivers understand they got to be physical. I'm speaking defense perspective, but they all know they go 100% every play, and they want to hit you before you hit them, and they know that's how they're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, you giving credit is due, huh? Who's the best player that you've ever went up against, if you could name one or two?
It's got to be Brian Thomas.
Oh, from Walker.
From Walker.
Yeah. He's a little famous now at commercials, right?
A little famous, yeah. Because he was by far, it's not just like his ability to make a catch, but one of the hardest players I've ever had to tackle, because it's like a freight train coming at you. Because he didn't look as strong as he was.
Yeah.
You knew he looked strong, but he was deceivingly strong. For sure, him with just his ability to make plays. Chris Hilton as well. He was faster than everybody else on the
Than
field.
what he looked. I mean, he wasn't a big guy.
He wasn't big, but he would hit you, and you feel
Tough.
it the next morning. He was a real good guy to play against.
And by the way, Brian is 6'5" now.
Yeah.
6'4" when you were guarding him. And you're 6 foot. And plus he had springs. He had 40 inch vertical.
He could jump. Yeah, it was not a.
Yeah.
Not
I remember seeing
awesome
Walker
thing.
playing a game, and they were playing Destrehan. And the corner was D1 for Destrehan. And I told a guy on the sideline, I said, watch Brian Thomas. And he's like, nah, he's just another tall. I'm like, watch this guy. He's like a slinky. You know how slinkies just kind of like.
He kind of bounces up every time.
Bounce up. And he just dominated this corner. Well, they put in another corner. And they put their receiver at corner, who was their stud. And then he couldn't stop him. And they just threw the ball up like a basketball play. And he went up and got every ball.
Yeah, he's just an athlete. That's why he's up there for one of the hardest people I've ever had to play against.
Amazing. Any final thoughts, Aiden, about people you want to recognize that helped you along the way? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
TJ McGee he came in my junior year. Is when he first came to Live Oak. Lit the program up. Legit speed. Very agile, great athlete. Played both sides of the ball. Could do everything you need him to. CJ Davis is the same way. I've been playing with him since I was 8 years old.
South Alabama, I believe.
South Alabama, yes sir. Same thing. You need a spark. He got it for you. Luke Udarga, who came in my freshman year.
Big time DN.
Big time DN.
6'4".
6'4", probably 220. He's
another sleeper.
Yeah, he's quick. He gets off the ball really fast. Get to the quarterback if you need him to. I think he had a sack every single game this year. One of my closer friends, I think Chase Jones was a really good receiver.
Yeah.
He's real quick. He's not the fastest, but he's got really quick routes, really quick cuts. He'll get open. He catches almost everything thrown to him.
I've been to a game at Live Oak. Y'all got a very good stadium. It's, state-of-the-art turf field now.
Yes, sir.
Got a good crowd. It's tough to play at Live Oak.
I'd
Pretty
say
loud people.
It's pretty loud. It's got the band definitely does a good job of making it louder for the opponents. But yeah, the fans, they get into it.
I was at the Opelousas game, remember, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
And that's when I saw you. You had 5 knockout hits in the first half, and I was doing my notes. And I was watching Opelousas kids. I was watching your team, and that was a hard-hitting game. That was kind of a standstill first half. Remember?
It was. Well, they I think they opted. We lost somebody due to COVID that game, and they opted in. So it was good to find an opponent. I'm glad it was them. They were a good team to play against.
And Opelousas averaged 270 on the O-line. Remember that?
Yes.
They were huge.
They were huge.
And they're huge this year and next year. They got 12 D1 players on their team coming back, Aiden. But I appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
Hope this helped him, and I know it will with some colleges. Everything helps to market, and we want to market Live Oak High School. Coming up is Darrell Asberry, the head football coach, state championship head football coach, Southern Lab Laboratory School on the campus of Southern University. We'll be right back.
Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom-tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage. Looking for a used car? Harvey Autos has 3 dealerships, which means 3 times the used vehicles. They've got everything from fuel-efficient compacts to luxury models, even hybrids, and certified pre-owned with a warranty. Check out John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, or Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report. I'm your host, Lee Brecheen. Before we introduce our high school football coach, we've got some flashback footage. We call it flashback because it's from our TV show from years ago. But it is film on Billy Cannon. When Billy Cannon played for Istrouma, that's right, when he played for Istrouma in the 50s. Check this film out, Billy Cannon, Istrouma High School. I want to thank Superior Grill for being a sponsor for over 20 years, not just for the TV show, but with our magazine. If it wasn't for Bob Kershaw and Superior Grill and their Highland Road location, the one in New Orleans on St. Charles Avenue, and the one on Government Street, we probably wouldn't be here. Thank those guys, and my appreciation to their family and everything they do. Great people, great food. Highland Road is the new location, the newer one. And I want to go ahead and get into talk about the late Billy Cannon. This is to honor Billy. I know this is a great week to do it with Ole Miss coming to town at LSU. It's a perfect time to do it. And I actually would, before Billy moved to St. Francisville, I got a chance to meet Billy through a late friend of mine, Frank Begues. Dr. Begues had his office on Goodwood, and Billy was still practicing. This is after football and after everything, and I got to know Billy, and we used to go to lunch and breakfast about twice a week for about 2 years. And I got a chance to know Billy Cannon outside the face mask, outside the run, and he passed away this summer, and a great guy, and I was glad to have a chance to get to know him, and he moved to St. Francisville. I didn't get to see him as much, but today I'm glad that you supplied some film on 1955.
1955, it's ironic. I grew up out there in North Baton Rouge, and all my friends went to Istrouma, and I went to Catholic. And Billy and I and all of us.
This is Catholic and
this
white.
Is Catholic, and it's BL at quarterback. That's Billy on a long run right there.
Isn't that something? 1955.
1955.
Your senior year, his junior year.
Yes. And I got hurt at halftime on a screen. And I used to tell Billy and them all the time, if I wouldn't have got hurt. Here we
go. Here's another play to Billy.
There's Billy right there. They beat us 20-12 that night. It was a good ball game.
Number 31. And
that's BL at quarterback, 10.
It's amazing there's film that's this good still at 55.
Look at that.
Look how big he was in 55, how quick. He looked like a man among boys. I've never seen this.
I mean, he was probably one of the greatest athletes that during my time I've ever seen. But he was, to me, a great guy to know. We all ran around together. I got on the bus and went downtown, and they went to Istrouma. But I got this film, and I saved film through the years. And I have more of them somewhere at the house.
Yeah.
But that's vintage. And I would like to make a copy of it and give it to the family.
Well, we got some pictures we want to show, too. This is
Billy.
Some pictures that you got from the archives. Billy Cannon back at Istrouma. That's his Istrouma picture.
Uh-huh.
And then here's another one.
No face mask.
No face mask.
We didn't play with face masks.
It's like the longest yard helmet, right?
Right,
With Burt Reynolds,
right.
the late Burt Reynolds.
Right.
And this is, the number 31. This is good stuff. I mean, people, this is not something you see every day. This is good memories for people.
I tell you,
You
what,
know?
it's awesome. And if you're a football fan, you got to enjoy this.
Look
film.
at this is getting a trophy, I guess, in high
Trying
school.
to see who he's with there.
That's he makes that guy look really small in that picture.
But the guy, Billy could go out and turn a 10-5 on the track, throw the shot put, carry the football. I mean, very few people. The only guy I think is as good was Jimmy Taylor.
He was amazing at Baton Rouge High, right?
Baton Rouge High. Jimmy played, and we played all against each other, but it was a neighborhood friendliness. Everybody knew everybody.
But being a strength coach, wouldn't you say Jimmy Taylor was one of the strongest people to ever come out of Baton Rouge?
Strongest and the best condition. When he went with Lombardi, that was one of the tags that Lombardi said about him, that there was not a better conditioned athlete on the Green Bay Packer team. He outdid everybody. He outworked everybody, outplayed everybody.
Well, the good thing is, before Billy passed away, he knew he was getting a statue at LSU, and I'm glad that it's going to be unveiled this Saturday at LSU against Ole Miss.
What a better time,
right?
But I'd love to see him do something for Jimmy Taylor.
Jimmy Taylor, you're right. I mean, one of the greatest ever.
Hall
NFL
of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Hey, Hall of Fame. You say what you want. When Jimmy went to LSU, it was all Billy Cannon and Jimmy Taylor. And then all of a sudden, he goes to the NFL, and look what happens there.
But you know what's amazing, Barrett, at that time? Throw in Johnny Robinson, too.
Another one.
Who should be in Canton, Ohio, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and be an extra plug for him. Over almost 60 interceptions in his career with the Kansas City Chiefs. And everybody's in on the Chiefs team but him. That's really one of the great. But those three were at LSU at the same time.
Same time. But you think about back then, Oscar Lofton.
Yeah, former Southeastern head coach.
All these guys were.
Former Terra head coach, Bill Fairchild.
Yeah, and everybody was a little group. And it all came out of Baton Rouge.
This is good stuff because people in Shreveport and Lake Charles, they get to see this and all over the state.
They had their share, the Bradshaws.
Right.
Come on, man. They had some great quarterbacks.
But, I mean, the show,
Woodlawn High School.
Getting to see this film today, though, is incredible for people. And
how about Woodlawn? Bradshaw, Prather. There was one more that fell right in there.
Joe Ferguson.
Joe Ferguson.
And even Josh Booty's dad, John, went to Mississippi State from Woodlawn as a quarterback.
Right.
They had several. Hope you enjoyed the film of Billy Cannon with all his plays. I thought that was interesting to see back when he was in high school, before LSU, before the Heisman Trophy, before the Ole Miss run, before his pro career, the late Billy Cannon. I want to thank Barrett Murphy for giving us that film to use, and also Nan McCain, who is the principal at Baton Rouge High, was able to help us with that way back. Just revisiting that. Want to go ahead and introduce our coach, one of the best coaches in the state of Louisiana, Darrell Asberry from Southern Laboratory School at Southern's campus, Southern University. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
State champions.
Finally.
I know, but what's it like to get that, off your chest, to get that state championship? The pressure, Southern Lab, there's a lot of pressure.
It is.
To be at a top program like Southern Lab.
Yes, when I took the job, it was a process that my director and I sat down and we talked about that came true. We thought we could do it year 4. I've been there 5 years, and this was the first time we got there healthy. We were 100% healthy, and those are the results.
Well, congratulations on that state championship. Well deserving. 7 state championships at the school. I want to mention this: 1980, 82, 86, 96, 15, 16, well, and now 2021. I'm getting my dates mixed up, Coach. We're in 222, but 2021. I remember you coming in, and you were coming into COVID, like third year.
Correct.
And that was a tough time.
It was.
You know, and you know, you had Todd Davis Price toward the end of his career, and you had to get guys back. You had Cordell Thomas.
Correct.
Damone Clark. We'll talk about them later in the show, but you had Triplet. You had a lot of guys. But I remember a year where y'all had a lot of guys out. You know, no practice time. The team didn't practice for a month or so.
Yeah, we didn't. You know, it was a tough time coming in. You know, just making the adjustment. They had to get to understand my philosophy, and you know, as a coach, you have to adjust to the players as well. And it was a tough time, but we found a way to come together as a family.
Kept your team together.
Yes.
And that led to the state championship 2 years later.
It did.
Because if you don't keep your team together, your house in order,
Yeah.
it would have never happened in 221, right, Coach?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Those guys, when I tell you they were resilient this year, you know, we have a saying, trust the process. And it started back this summer. And we worked. They didn't complain. It got a little rough in practice a couple times, you know, but that's where the light cut on. And I think after that Dunham game, when we dropped that game, we were a totally different football team.
Sometimes it takes a tough loss to get the team to come together, huh, Coach?
It does. It does.
We're going to take a break. We come back. I want to talk about the championship season, the win over Ouachita Christian, some of the teams you had to beat to get there that were good teams.
Yeah, they were.
And we're going to talk about that season that just ended not long ago. We'll be right back.
If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, you've got to go to Madine's Collision Center, located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Family owned since the 1960s. Be sure to take your car and truck for all your tire needs to Treads & Care Tire Company, located in Central. Call 331-8144. Family owned and operated since 1971. That's 331-8144.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen. I'm your host. Our guest today is a head football coach from Southern Laboratory School. It's on the campus of Southern University. We're going to talk about the history of the school later in the show. But I want to ask Coach, his state championship was this year. They beat Ouachita Christian. Y'all went 11-2, Coach. Y'all had to defeat Hanson, Madison Prep during the season. Y'all lost in Dunham.
Correct.
Y'all beat Country Day, a good team, in the quarterfinals. Y'all beat St. Frederick's, who was really good.
Yeah, they were.
I saw them out of Monroe.
They were.
And actually, I was telling Jace and a bunch of people, I said, look, St. Frederick's unique defensively. They get after you.
Yeah.
That was a hard-earned win.
That was.
Even though it was 33-0, it was still tough.
It was physical.
And then you get Ouachita Christian, another Monroe team. Y'all can't escape Monroe teams, Coach.
They can't, Coach.
Angelo Azard, man, 21-31, 340, 2 TDs, 3 touchdowns, 2-point conversion in state championship game. He saved his best game for last, didn't he?
Yeah.
Your quarterback. 4-year starting quarterback.
Yeah, he started for me 4 years. He went out in style. Young man, he threw 56 touchdowns, a ton of yards. I mean, a ton of yards. And, you know, it was a process, you know, working with him. I've had him since he was an 8th grader. And his football IQ is unbelievable.
It's sharp.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Baseball guy, too.
He is.
He'll tell you that.
He said he can strike me out. So
His dad will tell you that, too.
Yeah, he can play.
He throws a good ball as a pitcher.
Yes.
And, you know, not a tall guy, but overcomes with, like you said, high IQ to game.
High IQ.
Doesn't make mistakes. Can run if needed.
If needed, yes. And what the biggest thing about him, he's very smart for his coverages. And that's what college coaches are missing right now with him. You're reading defense. He understands how to read the defense.
Coach on the field.
Yeah, he's a general out there. And it gets to the point to where you I let him run the team meetings sometime. Okay, you run the offensive meetings.
That's rare, Coach.
Yeah, and I sit back in the back of the room and just observe. And so that's where he really earned his players' respect.
Being a coach on the field, y'all put up 534 yards in the state championship game.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what you were averaging during the season, but 534 yards is a lot of yards.
It is.
On Watchtower Christian.
Yeah.
Did you think that would happen?
Well, I knew it would be a big game. I just didn't. Our defense had been playing phenomenal. I mean, those guys were fast to run into the football, and to only give up 14 points in a playoff run, that was unbelievable. And I think they said we scored maybe 170-something points in the playoffs. Those numbers get to adding up. But when you start thinking about those kids, how they just having fun, and so I knew it was going to be a special day. I just didn't know how special it was going to be.
Yeah, 2 shutout. Who does that in the playoffs? Y'all shut out Hanson, St. Fred's, only gave up a touchdown without an extra point to Country Day, and only 14 in the state championship game in Watchtower Christian. And then Darren Morris had a great game. I think Darren Morris is going to be a star at Southern, huh, Coach?
I believe so.
6'3", 190.
He's special. He's a young man. The key for Darren was to run track this past season, track season. And he did run track, and you can tell when he runs down the football field that the track helped him to get to where he is right now. And again, he's going to run track again this year, and can only wait to see how this thing plays out.
Coach, Southern University, as you know, got a steal in Darren Morris.
They did.
And also Chris Bess, your DN. We're going to talk about his seniors when we come back, the Southern Lab High School seniors, and then we're going to talk about some of his young guys. And later in the show, we're going to talk about how Coach Asberry is a graduate of Jackson State, and also he's on the telecast for old Deion Sanders, legend from Florida State University. We'll be right back.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life. Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom-tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Scouting Report podcast TV show. I'm Lee Brecheen, your host. We got our head football coach from Southern Lab High School, Coach Asberry. We want to talk about some of his seniors. We talked about Chris Bess, who's a defensive end, 6'2", 255, 260, signed with Southern. I think he's an SEC lineman. Darren Morris, signed with Southern, a receiver corner. I think he's an SEC D1 guy, signed with Southern. 2 big-time guys. Raylan Jenkins, big lineman, can run like a running back at times. Yeah. Played a little fullback for you, I noticed. Sean Bates was a big-time starter at corner for you, receiver. Yes. I think he can play college ball. And Herman Brister, the athletic director's principal's son, 4.0 or 4.2 GPA, whatever, 4.5. He's like a NASA student. Herman is a receiver DB, going to Air Force, right?
Air Force, correct.
There you go, Air Force. Yeah. And we'll talk about those. What do you think about your senior group, Coach?
They were a special group. I can remember our principal, and I want to say thank you to him because he gave us everything we needed to get to this point. He brought the guys together. We had a little cookout, and all the seniors got together before the season. And he really talked to us and the coaching staff and explained to us what was at stake.
Principals don't always do that.
No, he don't, trust me.
No barbecue, at
no,
least.
He told us what was at stake and what his expectations were. And, once he spoke to us, we knew what we had to do. And those guys, that's a special group of guys. Those guys really led the team. They stuck together like a band of brothers, and all the young guys rallied behind them. And that was very impressive.
I'm impressed with that senior group. Watched your team in person a few games. And, I mean, I because of this portal and everything, me and you talked about it, everything that's going on, I mean, you got 3 seniors that are SEC guys. And, hey, gifts to Southern University on those two of the guys going there. They're going to be all world. And then I want to talk about the history of the school. I'm going to throw out some old names. Marcus Spears, Chad Jones, John Simon, running back, Louisiana Tech, Leonard Harris, D-tackle with LSU back in the day, Byron Jackson. Let me educate the young people out there.
My teammate.
You know this. At one time, Byron Jackson held the interception record for high school players with 71.
That's correct.
I still think he holds it to this day.
He still holds it to this day.
In the United States, Byron Jackson signed with Pittsburgh. Man, I was so upset when he went to Pittsburgh. But back then they had Craig Ironwood, Hayward.
Yeah, they did.
They had a team. They were rolling with Dan Marino. And then they went flat. And then he transferred back.
I actually thought he was going to go to LSU. That's where everybody thought he was going.
That's what I thought too.
And then Pitt came out of nowhere.
And then Pitt went down, and then he leaves Pitt.
Yeah, he left. Yeah.
But the greatest DB that never went to the
NFL,
the late Byron Jackson, Chuck Wiley.
Yeah.
Remember Chuck Wiley,
my
your
teammate.
teammate?
One of my teammates.
LSU, D-tackle. Tracy Porter.
Yeah.
A little bit before us.
For us.
His daddy was a coach.
Coach Porter.
Went to LSU.
Yes.
I'm throwing a lot of old names, huh, Coach?
Yeah, I remember those guys.
Frank Alexander.
Yeah.
Played for Carolina, Oklahoma.
Exactly.
And then Ronald Leary went to Memphis.
Correct.
Played in NFL 7 years, O-line. And Terren Nixon played in NFL a couple of years, DB. And I'm going to throw this name out. Who's the only quarterback? Here's trivia, Coach, for you, because that's your alma mater. And you might know it. Who's the only quarterback ever play in NFL from Southern Lab?
Is it Nate Harris, is it?
Early 70s.
Wow.
Played with Tracy Porter.
Oh, man, you got me on that one.
Dave Mays.
Dave Mays.
1976 to 78.
You got me on that one.
It was before us, so.
Yeah.
Cleveland and Buffalo. I didn't even know that,
I didn't
Coach.
know that one.
I had to Google it.
I didn't know it.
But I didn't even know Dave Mays because I was thinking of quarterbacks in the NFL from Southern Lab.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a
And
quarterback.
then Nate did go in as a punter, I want to say, with the Dallas Cowboys, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Coach Asberry. Later in the show, we're going to talk about Deion Sanders, Jackson State. He played at Jackson State, so you got to give him a break if you're a Southern fan. That's his alma mater. And we'll be right back when we talk more about Southern Lab High School.
So, hey guys, just wanted to take a minute to tell you about Harvey Autos. If you need a new or used car, there's 3 great dealerships right here worth checking out. John Harvey Toyota, Harvey Subaru, and Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City. Low prices, honest people. Tell them Lee sent you. If you need a paint job or repairs to your vehicle, go see Madine's Collision Center located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana on Kincaid Avenue. The number to call is 357-7983. That's 357-7983. Your Baton Rouge Accident Advisors.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report podcast. I'm your host, Lee Brecheen. We got Coach Asberry with the Southern Lab Laboratory School. People don't say that.
Yeah, they don't.
Laboratory School, Southern University campus. The school's on campus, and you might go on campus and not realize they're on campus.
Correct.
But you're on campus.
Right there on campus.
What, a rock throw from the stadium?
Yeah.
Buffer Stadium?
Exactly.
A rock throw. Coach, you got some young guys coming back. Now's the semi-rebuild. You lost all these guys.
Yeah.
Got to start over again, put the blocks back, get the young guys coming up. They got to get experience. And you've got Douglas Thornton coming back, who I think is a incredible back. I don't know, was he 5'4", 5'5"?
About 5'5".
Man, that boy can play.
Yeah, he can.
I was at the Dunham game, and I'm like, it's like trying to tackle a hummingbird.
Yeah, he's
this
very,
guy, and he's
physical.
Tough.
Yeah, he's tough. He's tough for his size, and you know, like you said, the rebuilding phase. It starts now, but the good thing is we still have some pieces in there that we can use those pieces until those younger guys get a little older and a little tougher.
I think what people want to know, the fans, especially Southern Lab fans, are there going to be several guys auditioning for quarterback? Because this is the first time. First time in 4 years, right?
Yeah, really.
You've had 4 years. That's a lifetime. So do you have a couple of guys in mind for quarterback? Maybe a position switch?
Well, it may be a position switch here and there, but the thing is we have some kids on campus and some kids that'll be coming in. Just have to make sure that everything is in order for them to be eligible to play their first year.
Just trying to let spring in first, fans.
Yeah.
Talk to Coach after spring. We'll call him about the preview magazine after spring.
Yeah.
Carl Williams, a great athlete coming back, man. I think he's a D1 player.
Yeah, I do. He's a defensive back. They convinced me. Herman Brister convinced me.
And he's a receiver for
as a receiver. Herman convinced me.
And he's a DB.
Yeah, Coach, he's better defensive back. And I'm telling you, it's proven that he's very athletic. Physical. And he can play on both sides of the ball, very physical, smart, intelligent young man on and off the football field.
You know who he reminds me of? Tre'Davious White, a little taller.
Exactly.
That played at Green Oaks.
Green Oaks, yes.
A ball hawk.
Yeah, and Carl, if you notice, they really didn't challenge Carl a whole lot this year. He had a bunch of interceptions last year, and they started throwing away from him. So
it wasn't smart.
Yeah.
Because you had Sean Bates on the other side, right?
Correct.
So you don't want to pick on either one of those guys.
And down the stretch, I don't know if you noticed, we took Sean and put him at the safety and put Dylan Day at the corner. So now we have another guy on the back end that can run and get to the football. Then we brought Herman and put him down in the box.
That's good coaching.
So we made some adjustments. My defense, my hat's off to my coaching staff.
Talk about some of your coaches. Name some of your staff
I'll
guys.
tell you my defensive coordinator, Coach Perry. We had Coach Sutton over there and Coach Dave Clark on defense. Those guys did a great job of putting it together along with Coach Jupiter. They put it together. I kind of stayed out their way. I let them mix it up. I gave my ideas what I thought, but they really down the stretch. I was very impressed with my defensive coaching staff. And offensively, Coach Salisbury and myself, and Ashton Clark, we held it together. Offensively, we just wanted to make sure defense was solid.
Yeah, wanted to get those guys out. I know your guys appreciate that.
Yeah.
You got Antonio Donahue coming back. Carlos Sanders, big time O lineman, D lineman.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, he's a grown man.
Yeah, he's going to be a D1 guy.
Yeah.
Well, if the transfer portal stays out the way.
Me and you can say it, but
I can say it too.
Yeah, you can say it. And then you got Jones coming back, Sinaj.
Yes.
Who's not a small guy by any means, 6'1", 290, 300 pounds.
Correct.
So there's a core.
It's a quarterback. We just got to fill that piece with that quarterback position. It's got those young skill guys.
You got to put your hat on and your whistle for spring now, huh, Coach?
Yeah, I got to do some coaching now.
You got to do some coaching. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Southern Lab High School. Again, later in the show, we're going to talk about Jackson State, what it's like working with Deion Sanders. Coach Asberry is a former quarterback. He's a former quarterback for Jackson State. We'll be right back.
Be sure to take your car and truck for all your tire needs to Treads and Care Tire Company located in Central. The number to call is 331-8144. Family owned and operated since 1971. That's Treads and Care Tire Company. Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours. Located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report podcast. I'm your host, Lee Brecheen. We've got Coach Darrell Asberry, the head coach at Southern Laboratory School, the Kittens.
Yeah.
Who said Kittens way back? I mean, I think the school started in 1912 or something like that.
I think we're going on 100 years.
100 years?
Yeah,
That's
100
crazy,
years.
isn't it?
Coming up soon.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Rich program. We're going to talk about the new coaches in state. Coach, we got the portal going on, and then we got, unfortunately, people getting fired now, or people leaving. You got a new coach at McNeese. You got a new coach at ULM a year ago, which is Terry Bowden. He's coming in year 2. We'll see how long he's there. We got a new coach at Tech.
Yeah.
We got a new coach at Grambling. We got a new coach at ULL. We got a new coach at LSU. And we got a new coach at Southern University across the street from you.
Correct.
Coach Eric Dooley. was with Pete Richardson for
Correct.
a long time.
I remember him.
He ought to be knocking on Lav all the time now, huh? Because he knows the school.
Yeah, Coach and I have a great relationship. We had some battles when I was at Jackson State as the offensive coordinator, and he was at Southern with Coach Rich. I think he's gonna do a great job. I mean, he's recruiting. The question becomes, will the university? You know, these schools now they want right now. I want to win right now.
Yeah.
So, will he be able to go get the high school kid to build a program, or will they just have to go straight transfer portal? And it's not just him; it's everybody, and that's what they're doing now. The question becomes now: will the kids go to junior college, then go to the next step?
Well, Coach, junior college guys are getting an extra year, so they're bottlenecked.
Yeah.
So junior colleges don't have scholarships.
Everybody
Everybody got an extra year.
Everybody has an extra year. Yeah.
And I guess everybody thought that was the best thing because of COVID, and at first it sounded good.
But it's hurt.
It's hurting.
Yeah.
You know, because there's guys that had 2 extra years.
And it really hurts because, I mean, I have guys right now that I personally think that if I was back in college that I would recruit. Those guys can really play. You know, you take my quarterback, for example. He's thrown 147 touchdowns in 3-4 years and 56 this past year, and he doesn't have a look right now.
And Louisiana College should be all over him, but they got 1,000 kids trying to go there.
Exactly.
Because they gave their kids another year.
Yeah.
And D3, as you know, being a former college coach, they're unlimited, but now, even though it's unlimited, there's only so many you can
so many you can have out there.
D2, D3. And even though the grades have been waived, it didn't help. They waived the test. They waived the GPA. And isn't that insane?
That's something there. They didn't have that when I was in school.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
When you came out of school, you had to have this grade, this. Now they've been waived everything. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk to Coach about guys that are going to get drafted from Lab this coming year. There's a big group that you coached. Yeah. That was a special group 4 years ago. 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But they came from Alabama. They came from LSU. They're at Arizona State.
Yeah.
I want to mention these guys and get your thoughts now 5 years later.
Gotcha.
What you think of these kids. You're going to hear the word Southern Lab a lot in the NFL draft coming up. We'll be right back.
Gage has served Louisiana for over 40 years. Let Gage create a custom-tailored solution for your business and become your partner in technology. Give them a call today at 225-753-4243 and help your business get better connected with Gage.
Welcome back. You're watching the Sports Scouting Report podcast. I'm your host, Lee Brecheen. Darrell Asberry is our guest. Coach Asberry, Southern Laboratory School at Southern University. We've talked a lot about the school, his coaches, his seniors, his juniors. We talked about the history of the program, guys that have come out of the program. It's as talent-rich as any school in the state. If you look at the history of guys that have come out to go to college, this is one of the top high schools in the state to put their kids into college, whether it be Southern, LSU, Jackson State, wherever. It is a great school in Baton Rouge and state champions in 221 for football. I want to start out by talking about 5 years ago, Coach. I remember a Thursday night game. I'm sitting on my couch, and I'm going, I don't know if I'm going to go to a Thursday night game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I want to get some tea, turn the TV on. I said, I'm going to go to Olympia. And they were playing, Southern Lab was playing West St. John. And I was so glad I went to that game on a Thursday night because I saw all these freshmen.
Yeah.
Cardell Thomas, Ty Price, Damone Clark, Chris Allen, who looked like a man-child then. Shannon Foreman looked like a man-child then. Jabbar Triplett, Arizona. That was a special group, Coach.
Yeah, it was.
4-year starters. If they would have been, if 8th grade would play every year, I think they would be 5-year starters. But a lot of these guys are going to go in the draft. Chris Allen had a good career at Alabama. He'll get drafted. Shannon Foreman had a great career at Arizona State.
Yeah.
Triplett still got some time left at Arizona. Damone Clark should have won the Buckets, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he should.
At LSU. Ty Davis Price, I think he's going to have a heck of an NFL career.
Yes.
And Cardell still got a chance to redeem himself about 2 years left. He's still got a chance to beat Cordell Thomas at LSU.
Correct.
What do you think of these guys? How special they were?
That group was a special group. Those young men have really worked hard, and they're earning, all the accolades. I can remember Damone Clark, when I first took the job, he was one of the guys that I really sat down and had to talk with to get him to help me learn the process on how these guys think. And, you just come in as a coach, you have your way as a coach, but when you have that much talent in the room, you want to make sure that, you find a way to bend a little bit. And Tyrion and, like you said, Cordell still has time, but those guys are going to have a heck of an NFL career. Chris Allen and the rest of those guys, they're gonna be special.
I remember when Orgeron tried to sign Chris Allen. Boy, he was upset. He went to Alabama. He's like, I thought I had him. But and Chris is, without injuries, he's probably an All-American 3 years.
Correct.
He had a couple of years of injuries. He's 6'4", 270 now, can run 4'8", 4'7". Ty Davis is, to me, the Saints need to get him as a backup to Kamar. I'm a home guy.
Yeah.
And then you look at Damone. Damone should have won the Buckus Award. Almost 200 tackles, coach, is insane. Yeah. That's high school stats. Yeah. I want to say this about Damone Clark. The first day I met him, and you were talking about his leadership going to him, that is one of the smartest kids I've ever met in my 40 years in this business. A 4.0 GPA as a ninth grader, and it talks like he was 30 years old when I met him as a ninth grader. That kid is incredible.
Yeah, he is, Coach, and hats off to his mother and his father. They've done a great job with him, and if I'm not mistaken, Damone has earned his degree from LSU, if I'm not mistaken. But, just talking with him, and I try to talk to those guys at least once or twice a week just to see how they're doing, and you can give them their space. But I'm very proud of those guys. Our school is very proud of them.
You know what impressed me about these guys too, Coach? I went to your signing day 3 years ago.
Yeah, they were there.
And they were in the audience.
Yeah, they were there.
They didn't have to be there because they were in school. But I look in the audience, I see Damone sitting in the crowd, I see Ty in the crowd, I see, Shannon Foreman probably would have been there if he'd have been here from Arizona.
Yeah, Tyler Guidry.
Big
guys.
tight end, defensive end.
Yeah, those
But
guys.
they were there supporting the school, and that's what I think makes Southern Lab so special, that they come back. You don't have to drag them back.
No.
They want to be there.
They want to be back, and even playing home games, those guys will show up. They'll call, hey, Coach, we're going to be at the game. They know any former player can come on my sideline. They know how big I am about that sideline, but I love to see those guys because that makes, as coaches, that makes us feel like, okay, we've done step one with them now.
Yeah. Basketball program, I don't want to leave them out.
Yeah.
Harold Boudreaux, former Tiger, LSU.
He is.
6'9". He's the head coach. I want to give a shout out to him, the girls basketball coach.
Coach
Chaney, another
LSU.
legend.
Yeah.
LSU.
Correct.
Got the LSU Tiger stuff going on. Who's got more tradition in basketball in Baton Rouge than putting out Bobby Fields and Avery Johnson?
Yeah.
The late Bobby Fields.
Yeah, he's a
left
great
us
one.
way too young.
He did.
And then Avery Johnson, who's now doing college games, was the former head coach of many NBA teams.
Yeah.
Alabama head coach. Avery's got, and this goes into Deion. Avery Johnson, coach, reminds me of a Deion with the personality. Does he the way they're flashy and the way they come across?
Well, I would say
And we're going to talk about Jackson State soon.
Yeah, I would say the flashiness, but Coach Prime is special. He's one good guy.
Now, you played at Jackson State as a quarterback. You leave Southern Lab, graduate. You're now the head coach at Southern Lab. You still go do broadcasts with Jackson State on Saturdays. You get in your car, and you're a part of the primetime team. What is that like? What's a typical Saturday for you? Because you coach Friday.
Yeah, we coach on Friday. We had a bunch of Thursday games, but, it depends on – take Florida, for example. We played Florida A&M. I got up, we coached the game. I got up, caught a flight out the next day. Felt like I was only working for ESPN. But I catch a flight out, then I'll Uber over to the hotel. give me a little rest, and then I have to meet my crew, and I'm back at it again. And so we'll come back, we'll spend the night, and then I'm back up the next morning. I'm headed back to Baton Rouge to get my team ready to play.
So you on the broadcast team. What does Deion do? Does he do any input on that, or do he let you just go and?
No, he doesn't have too much hands on with that one.
Okay.
He kind of let us go, and I remember when he wasn't feeling well when he had that surgery. He called in on the show, and we kind of talked with him very briefly, but he's a phenomenal guy. His recruiting is unbelievable. I mean,
and they can't say that you're pro Jackson State because both your kids signed with Southern this year.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Yeah, two guys signed with Southern, Chris Best and your big receiver Darren Morris, and one going to Air Force and Herman Brister. But Coach, what is it like when Southern plays Jackson State? Who's giving you a hard time that day?
Everybody at my job, everybody at the school. So I wear my Jackson State paraphernalia. I mean, that's who I am.
You went there.
I went there. I'm not going to change that. But I tell you, playing those guys, I mean, working there, feeling the energy, and watching Coach on the sideline, he has a ton of athletes down there. And, I mean, he does a great job with them. I mean, it's just the energy level when those two teams meet.
Does Deion need to slow down? Because he might be getting too many D1 guys. He got 30 D1 transfers last year.
Yeah, keep pressing the gas.
Keep pressing the gas. Well, they don't stay long, so you just get another 30. But he signed the #1 recruit in the country this year, out of Georgia.
That was big.
Over Georgia.
Yeah.
Right, who just won the national championship.
Yeah, that was big there.
Now, is he the best marketing genius in the United States right now for football?
Right now he is.
Because Jackson State's everywhere.
Yeah, he has a vision that's unbelievable. And the thing that I like about him, he's not just for Jackson State. He tries to do it for all HBCUs because there's a lot of things that our HBCUs are lacking.
He's brought that attention to it.
And the attention, the television, and that's what I like about him. He really wants it for all schools.
And they got prime time speaking of prime, he's prime time, but the national championship game was prime time.
It was.
It's on ESPN.
Yeah.
Not that it's not on TV. I'm just saying prime time ESPN.
Yeah, ESPN.
And, I mean, they're like you said, that's now bouncing off to the other schools. You know what? I'm one of those guys. I'm always for go where you want. Don't go where you think you have to go.
Correct.
Go, if you're happy at Florida A&M or Duke, wherever you want to go, go.
Correct.
But he changed that mindset, Coach, to where a kid can tell his mom and the mama says, you don't have to go to Alabama to make the NFL.
Correct.
To get a degree. And I like that. I like we just it's changed it up.
Yeah, and when you look at it, he also signed that the number 6 or number 4 receiver.
Yeah.
In the country, and I mean that's big.
Two of the top 10 in the country.
2 of the top 10 in the country, and when you look at it, now since the game has changed so much, you can go to your HBCUs now, your Jacksons, your Howard Universities. You can attend those schools and make the NFL or the NBA from those schools now.
I want to recognize that Martin Luther King Day was yesterday.
Yes.
And I watched a HBO special on Martin Luther King last night. What an incredible man.
Yeah.
And he went to a small black college in Georgia, Morehouse.
Yes.
And they're pretty good in football.
They are. Actually, my friend of mine, Richard Freeman, is the head coach over there.
Come on.
Yeah. Good friend
But
of mine.
I know one thing. If I was a coach at the coaches convention this past year, I'm trying to become an assistant at Jackson State because that's not hard to recruit with Deion right now.
It's not. It's not.
I mean, can you imagine when you were recruiting, having this?
With all the social media back then, we didn't have that social media, and
you had to really work it.
COVID was big, so they couldn't get out.
Right.
And he just took the social media platform and used it for a recruiting tool, and I thought that was very smart. I mean, it's been out, and he's the only one that thought about it. So, and he took it to his advantage.
I remember and look in the 80s, early 90s, My favorite team to watch was a Mississippi Valley when it had Willie Totten and Jerry Rice. And people don't remember Willie Totten. You do.
Yes.
Willie Totten was the greatest quarterback that no one ever talks about. He must have threw for 50,000 yards in 3 seasons.
Yeah. And Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice.
Yeah, and that's where Archie Cooley, people think, they talk about the spread offense, but Archie Cooley invented the spread offense. And
them green jerseys.
Yeah, and matter of fact, Willie Totten is employed at Mississippi Valley right now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where he is.
He had like a foreman's helmet that he wore.
Exactly.
He was
Called him
unique.
Satellite.
He was unique. But you always knew that was him on the
That was him.
sideline.
And those two guys were very, very special. And it hasn't been, you haven't seen a combination like that since those two.
But we're going back to that, Coach. You agree?
Correct.
Steve McNair, Alcorn State. Walter Payton, Jackson State. Jackie Slater, Jackson State. I'm calling
Robert
Brazile, Harold Carmichael, Mel Blunt. We're going back to where they're going to get those players.
Correct, and that's what.
And that's good. That's healthy for everybody.
It is, and when you think about Grambling State University, they just hired Hugh Jackson,
Doug Williams, and
Doug Williams. So
Sammy White.
It's going back to that.
I remember when Sammy White was coaching with Doug, and Coach, I felt like a little boy in a candy store. I was like, I'm in the presence of Sammy White. I watched him for the Vikings, him and Fran Tarkenton. He was bigger than life to me, and I'm like, Coach White, you're an assistant for Doug? He said, how you doing? He's one of the nicest people I ever met in my life.
Yeah, he was special. Doug Williams is a great friend of mine. It's just the list goes on with these guys, and I'm just fortunate and blessed to be able to attend Jackson State University as a young teenager. If it wasn't for Jackson and Southern Lab High School, who knows? But
molded you.
Yeah, they did. They molded me, and I had a strong mother who's still strong, and she was one of a kind. She was a single mom that raised us, but she made sure that I went to school.
One final question for Coach. Speaking of that, Coach, since we're talking about special people, Mama's always number one to us.
Yeah.
I agree with that. If it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. Who else was a huge influence on you that you would like to mention or give a shout out to that really played a part in becoming who you are with coaching in the coaching field? And
well, I tell you, in that coaching field is a guy that I learned all my offense from is John Shannon. I played for him at Jackson State University. And then Coach W.C. Gordon, who recruited me to Jackson State.
Man, I hadn't heard that name in a long time.
And you'll be surprised with this one. Coach Rod Broadway from Grambling.
Yeah.
I worked for him in North Carolina. And when I left him, I became a head football coach. And then, of course, I can't leave out the lady that puts up with me, my wife.
You can't leave your wife out. You got to go home.
Yeah, she puts up with me through the good and the bad. We've had our ups and downs, but I can say I've been fortunate enough to been doing this is year 31 right now. Year 30, 31, 26 in college and 5 at Southern Lab. I've only been asked to step down from one job, and that was Texas Southern. So the game has been good to me.
Not bad.
And I've been blessed. God has really, truly blessed my family to be able for me to be able to do something that I love getting up doing every morning. So I never have a bad day.
We're similar age, Coach. I got out in '89. I think you were '87.
Yeah.
And so same.
Yeah, it's been.
Got right in this right after.
Right after it. And I've been doing it ever since. It's been a blessing. So it feels good to get up and go to do something you love to do every day.
And I'm glad you got them. The rings will be coming in soon.
Yeah, they're beautiful too.
And then it's easier to get kids to come out for football when you win a state championship.
Yeah, my phone has been going crazy.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Coach,
crazy.
Thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I'll be back anytime you want me. You've been a tremendous supporter of our program, and I really appreciate you and your crew. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes.
It's Coach Asberry, Darrell Asberry. We're going to end the show. I want to thank all our guests today. Aiden was a great guest. Saunders, our DB from Live Oak. And I hope you enjoyed the Billy Cannon flashback run from earlier in the show. We'll see you next week.
The Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen is sponsored by Madine's Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose Madine's. Gros Savon Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Tire Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Autos in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. Engage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Brecheen.